excited about the 2014 class. And so for us, as you guys know, I always talk about them being paper tigers. How do they grow up? How do they become what they need to become? Changing offenses, so it's very important first to have a quarterback. We felt like a lot of people's eyes, second-ranked quarterback in class in the country with Foster Sawyer and Grayson Muhlstein. We felt like we needed to pinpoint our offensive line. We took 5 offensive linemen, one a junior college guy, Frank Key, that is here now, here in the spring. We felt like we had to get more size, and if you look at our group, from Ty Barrett to Austin Slotman, Ryan Griswold, and also Trey Elliott. Trey could also be a guy that can flip back and forth depending on our depth at the defensive tackle, at least his freshman year. But getting 5 in this group, we felt like was very important for us to grow. To put that with Tal Fabergé coming back, and also Matthew Pryor, which both those guys are about 6'8". Both are in the one's in the 360 range. Frank is in the 340, 350 range. We felt like we had to get bigger. We felt like we did that, plus have athleticism. And so it probably, at first, whether we wanted to take a tailback, but we really felt like Sean Nixon was a guy that stood out, that wanted to come to TCU. And I don't think he ever turned down a great tailback, which we feel like he's a guy that has a lot of ability to do just not only be a tailback, but he catches the ball out of the backfield. He also lined up as a wide receiver, ran vertical. And so he's a guy that gives you that kind of dimension. And we needed to go out and get, with the offense that we're putting in, we felt like we had to go get some guys with length, wide receivers. So 2 of them, both Manuel Porter and Corey McBride, both are guys that have that, both have tremendous speed. I think last year, Corey was a guy that ran in the 10-4, 10-5 at the state meet in Louisiana. Manuel Porter was a guy that actually we had in a one-day camp that tested phenomenally before anybody even knew he was a football player. He had not even really played a season. He'd been a basketball player, came to one of our one-day camps, was almost a 40-inch vertical jump. The guy that ran in 4.4, had unbelievable hands, and the thing about him is he blocks, he's tenacious. And he's right in our backyard. So you put them with Desmond White, which is a guy that played quarterback at DeSoto that's it's hard to catch in a phone booth. He's got unbelievable ability that can line up in the Wildcat, but we feel like he'd be an H receiver, a guy that can run fly sweeps, do different things for us, return punts, kicks. We felt like we helped ourselves. We had a couple more guys that we had also pinpointed. We didn't come out on the winning end of a couple of those guys, but it's a good group, and really, with the way our 2015 class is already shaping up, it'll help us in recruiting because we'll get an earlier start into this offense, and I think there's some really good wide receivers in it. So for us to change things we'll be able to do, I think both of them fit and have a chance the way the offense is set up to play early. Defensively, we felt like, as you always do, we only graduated John Koontz. And with Caraway and Devontae Fields redshirting, so we ended up not only taking one end, we had 2, and we ended up with 1, and then we also signed 2 D tackles. Casey was a guy that had 15 and 18 sacks his junior and senior years up from Raytown South in Missouri. He looks like he weighs 210 pounds. When you stand next to him at 6'4", he's 250. So it's very lean, good. He's got a chance. Who knows what he'll be? He'll be a defensive end. He may grow him himself into something else. And then you have the 2 other guys, both LJ. Looking down through this, they have just a lot. One is Chris Bradley, was a guy that I think had 15 sacks as a senior. Was highly ranked in the state of Louisiana. Very smart player, very good academic person. Some of the guys that recruited him. Has a chance to, with his first step, to maybe play as a freshman. LJ comes from it's either 1A or 2A school, Monday, which they've historically been very good football. Has a chance to really grow. He won't be a defensive end; he'll be a defensive tackle for us. Linebacker was in place, and Vinny was a guy that we kind of knew about. He was a couple years ago. He was I think a parade All-American, 6'2", 230, can run. grandfather was a famous high school coach in New Jersey. One of those situations where signed with Arkansas, I think, out of high school, ended up, for whatever reason, not going, and so we have him back, and really excited about him being here in the summertime. And then we signed Ty Summers, which follows a little bit going back to my old ways. You know, Jason Phillips, which is with the Eagles, was a quarterback out of high school, turned into a linebacker. Stephen Hodge was a quarterback out of Tatum. Ty was a guy who was in our camp that was 6'2", measured almost 220, ran in the 4.5s. In this league, you got to have guys that can run vertical with each other. He was a quarterback, but he was also a guy that ran with the football a lot more than he threw it. Very physical player. And so have an opportunity to try to change him into a different position. And then in the secondary, start with Nick Orr, which was a guy that's a corner safety out of DeSoto. It's one of the only, I think, is the only player to ever be a 4-year starter at DeSoto. And then you look at the combination of guys, and I'm just going to call him Ray from Georgia. Ray was a guy that came on out of Norcross. It was a guy that we saw in film that played against, really found out about him because he played against a couple receivers. We said this guy was the best one. So we played against Alabama commits. We played against this guy and this guy. They said this guy gave us the most problems. So we found out, and then he's a guy that really has an upside. Not a lot of people knew about him because he played quarterback in the spring. And he'd sit out the other year because he had changed schools. Corey O'Mealy, junior college corner, you know, we felt like with Verrett leaving and also Kevon Gamble that we needed to go find a junior college corner. And so, you know, that helped with the younger corners, but that's a position that in this league, if you don't have guys that can run with wide receivers, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And you put them with Torrance Mosley, which played tailback, wide receiver, corner at Dutchtown, along with McBride. As a guy that has tremendous speed and has the ability to be, we think, to be one of those guys. Trying to think if there's anybody that I missed on this group. You know, one of the guys that really helped us that's here right now that graduated early was a junior college, was Kenny Iloka. His brother George starts from the Bengals. We recruited his brother out of high school. I think in some services he came out as the #1 safety in country in junior college. 6'2" guy that usually a lot of times when they're that size, they don't have as good a feet. He's got great feet in our off-season program. So it's a combination along with Trayvon Howard, the safety from Longview. It's really a group that complements itself. So we're excited about it.
Coach, what kind of factor did Coach Meacham and Cumbie have in
I mean, always. Coach Looper. But I mean, changes in the offense and everything else. You know, Coach Looper was the primary recruiter of Emmanuel. But I think to be honest with you, I think it's been a group effort. A lot more energy, you know, just the energy part of it, you know, when you add guys to your staff. And, you know, it's guys, I think one of the things as we go forward, I think morphing into a Oklahoma State, Texas Tech style of throwing offense is going to attract and keep the kind of wide receiver that maybe has left the Metroplex or surrounding areas. Now I'll have a chance to keep him closer to home as we move forward. So I think you won't know that here through another recruiting class or two as you go forward and do things.
Foster and Grayson have a chance to battle for the starting job without enrolling early?
There'll only be 5 of us. Yeah, they're only going to have, these guys are only going to have 15 practices. The other thing you got to understand, one lives in town and one is an hour away. I mean, except for track meets that Grayson's at, they can be about any spring practice that they want to be to watch. Can't compete, but you can be. So you know you'll go into the summertime with 5 guys, with Zach and those guys.
How rare is it in this day and age of recruiting to land 2 top 30 quarterbacks like you guys?
I think it's hard. I think it's a testament to the kind of people that they are. I think it's a testament that they're both coming here because they love TCU. They want this kind of degree, but they also want to play big-time football. And for me, we made a change not because the guys that we had in place are not good football coaches. change because in the way we like it or not, perception-wise, you've got to be able to entice young man who wants to come to school here. And I think one of the things that helped to keep both those guys was knowing that what kind of offense we were going to go to. I think keeping Emmanuel Porter in place, understanding that you can go catch, because you have guys that have coached Crabtree, or played Coach Crabtree, Des Bryant, Blackman, and they played as freshmen. You know, you have, if you look at Coach Meacham last year at Houston, the quarterbacks he had in the spring were not his top two quarterbacks he had in the fall. He played two true freshmen. You know, and they put up the numbers that they did. And so the offense is simple enough that a younger player can play at a high level, and that's what we're hoping to, you know. But, you know, there's a difference between, as we know, the difference between the league they played in and the league you play in on a day-to-day basis here, and how fast but you have Trayvon, which, you know, you don't know that him and Tyler and Zach, that this offense is not gonna help them, along with Foster and along with Grayson. So, we feel very comfortable about the 5 guys we have coming in, but I think it's hard to get to. Very rarely are you going to have 2 guys of their ability come to the same place. But like I said, I think it has a lot to do with the kind of people that they are, and they're also competitors, because they competed to come to every one of our camps this last summer. So they competed against each other, and they're friends and they get along and all of it. I mean, it's a tribute to them. It's not like there wasn't other people trying to get them, as you all know. Probably know better than I do.
Having done this now for a while, do you get excited at signing day?
Yeah, the kids, you know, the names and faces change, but I mean, the kids and the emotion, understanding that you got a chance for a college degree, and, you know, that's the best thing about recruiting. At the end of it, it's hope. You know, you change it. You know, high school, you coach in high school, you grow up what your community has in place is what you're gonna coach. I don't, you know, now we don't get like the NFL where somebody gets hurt in the middle of the season, we go get a free agent, but I mean, at least you have a chance if you do it right, you think through it. And that was one of the things that probably was a plus, if there is a plus about not going to a bowl game, is just having more time to make changes, do the right things, and also recruiting wise to evaluate what we needed, how we needed to do it. You know, we would have liked to add a couple more linebackers, but on the same ride, it's helped our 2015 class for linebackers already. You know, we have 7 commits for next year. All of them are good players.
This seemed like one of those years, you guys have always won some of the battles against Texas and Oklahoma, that this year you get wins over Alabama, Texas, A&M, LSU. Is that just a testament of the recruiting job by your coaches, or? I mean,
Well, there's a lot of combinations. Number one, you know, when we were in the Big 12 conference, you know, they win ball games, but they don't play anybody. So, still got it. And now you're in it. Well, now they're here, but they have, because your first 2 years, you know, we win 4 ball games. But I think even the 2015 class already is a testament. The kids and parents know what a great private school education does. If you just look at Duke, I was looking to see how many, even in their junior class for 2015, how many 4 or 5-star commitments they have. Go play. Once and I told people, and you guys, some of you listened, some of you didn't, it was going to be a 3 to 5 year process. It's about depth. It's about establishing that you can do it. And for me at TCU, I think once you have an opportunity that when we break through and we win 9 to 11 ball games, and we prove that we can do this in this league, then I think when you're sitting right in the middle of 7 million people in a state that has unbelievable, that you're gonna have, that is a gold mine. And I've said that for a long time, and I haven't changed my mind as far as that's concerned.